Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Bloons Battles on the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day as usual. So this is our second best three with Arctic YT. They're pretty short games. We didn't go too late game. Mostly because the maps that we chose were pretty short. The third one that we chose was actually cause yeah, there was 3 games that are all gonna be in this episode. But the third game was actually a pretty long map. But from first looks, the strategy I think Arctic is going with is like, I didn't think he was going with mortar, but now that I'm kind of paying attention to both sides, I can see that mortar was obviously going to be his third. Because usually the only 2 strategies I know that involve tack shooter are tack shooter, sniper, spike factory, or tack shooter, sniper, or tack shooter, mortar farm. Because both, honestly, I like, or no, there's also tack shooter village farm. But my favorite tack shooter strategy is tack shooter mortar. It's either mortar or monkey village. They're both pretty good. I think I would have to say mortar though. Yeah, I think I would definitely say mortar. It would probably be a tie between mortar and village because mortar and village are both great sources of camo detection, or like, yeah, camo detection. Because mortar with signal flare can kind of change the camos to regular balloons, and then with village it allows the towers to detect camo. The sniper strategy, sniper spike tack shooter, or sniper spike factory tack shooter. I just don't really like that strategy, mainly for the reason that the snipers are kind of the only way of camo detection, and it kind of just it's kind of just a lot to handle. Because then if you get regen rushes, and then you don't have like the defense for that because you've tried to get up camo detection with a sniper. It's just, yeah. So after ranting for 3 minutes on what my favorite tack shooter strategy is, I'll start commentating on the gameplay. So I have 2 dart monkeys. I haven't thought about getting up a spike-a-pult yet for round 8, which is something I probably should have thought of at this point, because it was getting pretty close to round 8, and I didn't really have up a good defense for yellows. But in farms were tied, so I don't know where I was going with that. But the farms were tied. I did rush with yellows because that one blade shooter just wasn't enough, and I knew it, so that's why I rushed. I know that you need 2, or you either need like 2 blade shooters, or you need a bunch of like tack sprayers or something like that. But that's usually kind of makes up for the damage. A few tack shooters, or I'm not really sure if, yeah, I think you need like 3 or 4 tack shooters or tack sprayers to equalize the damage of the blade shooter. Not 100% sure with that, but I think so. So we are slightly ahead in farms. Arctic YT does get up his mortar here, mainly for camo detection because it is getting, well, mainly for popping leads actually, because it is round 10. He actually sent me some leads, and I kind of panicked here. I sold my dart monkey. I don't know. I think I was doing that to get up this what's it called, Juggernaut. I put a ninja at the end. I don't think it helped very much, but I was kind of hoping not to die there, which I didn't. Which I was pretty happy about. But I was left with pretty low amount of lives, so any rush at this point would be very it'd be threatening my my lives, just because any balloon at this point that gets through would take me out. Regen zebras, regen rainbows, pretty much anything would take me out here. So I need to be very careful. Even one lead would actually. So I did get up another plantation. I had quite a bit of money to spend, so I just got up another plantation. I do get up another spike-a-pult, and I start spamming down dart monkeys because I'm kind of thinking ahead to Moabs, and like chip darts are pretty good against Moabs if you have enough. But what I usually do is I usually just spam down trip darts for Moabs, and then I boost when the Moab comes. And it usually works pretty well for me. If there was a secondary rush, though, I would probably get ended. What I mean by that is, like, if the Moab gets sent, and then I boost, and then a second rush comes of another Moab, I don't really know what I would do in that situation, to be honest. Probably just keep spamming down dart monkeys and hope it's enough damage to take out the Moab, and then just glue storm it. That's probably what I would do in that situation. But I do send some camos. I do send a camo ceramic underneath, which does actually do quite a bit of damage against Arctic, and he is left with about 11 lives here. I'm about at 19. This is a pretty intense game. These camos are going through, but those mortars are destroying those camos pretty easily. He does get up a couple. Or actually, no, he had those blade shooters. He does get up another blade shooter, another tack. No, another blade shooter. 4 blade shooters and a. What is that upgrade called? Is it like fire? I can't remember what that upgrade called. That fire. The fire tack shooter. I can't remember what that upgrade's called. But as you can see, we're just spamming down dart monkeys here. We have up 2 spike-a-pults and a juggernaut, and we do get up a republic. We are equal. We are pretty equal in farms. But I do know that Moabs and BFBs are coming soon, so I make sure to spam down these trip darts. So if I need to, I can get up a Super Monkey Fan Club. But I do go ahead and send a Moab, just because I don't think those tack shooters on their own can actually take out this Moab, which is why I sent it. Something I completely forgot as well is I had the Moab boost, which I boosted too late, because I usually don't use that. I haven't used that upgrade too much, so I kind of forgot I had it. But those ceramics do sneak on through. After this game, Arctic said that his defense, he underestimated, or he overestimated it, which I honestly thought his defense would be good enough. I thought all those blade shooters and tack shooters and everything would be good enough, but apparently it wasn't. So I'll see you guys right back for the second game. Welcome back to the second game. As always, I can't remember what the map is that we're playing on. I did just realize, though, that these boomerangs are kind of flipped on both sides. I didn't realize that before. There's actually a few maps that are kind of like flipped. They're replicas of the other side, but they're just flipped. I think, like, yeah, Yin Yang and this map are, I think, the only 2 maps that I've seen that are flipped. A lot of the maps are just kind of the same on both sides. Yeah. I don't know if there's any more maps that are kind of like flipped. I hope you guys, like, what I mean by flipped is like they're the same, but they're switched, like 90 degrees. Is it 90 degrees? I don't know, but they're just completely switched. So this time around, I went with Wizard Buccaneer Farm. I think I did it in the, or I used this strategy in, because we actually played a couple extra games, or not a couple extra games, but a couple other games. We were just messing around in one of them, so we decided to play another one. Because we didn't want that to actually be the game, because we were just kind of messing around. So yeah, we just decided to play another game, which I think, yeah, this was the another game. This was the third, no, this was the second game. God, I'm all over the place right now. But we go ahead and start off with the Buccaneer. Buccaneer is an excellent early game tower. Engineer is actually, Engineer and Buccaneer are probably the 2 best early game towers to use, I would say. Buccaneer definitely on water, and then Engineer definitely on land. So what I meant by that is, like, Buccaneer is the best early game tower for water, and then Engineer's the best early game tower for land. They're both I would say the top 2 early game towers in general. But yeah, in terms of farms, we're doing pretty well. We have 2 Buccaneers. We are slightly in the lead in terms of farms. We are not anymore, though. But the reason Buccaneer and Engineer, or just early game towers in general, are so good is because they don't cost too much, and their popping ability is crazy. So it allows you to really get ahead in farms. So like if you were doing Engineer versus Ninja, you would get way ahead in farms, because the cost for your upgrades aren't necessarily cheaper on Engineer, but they're more effective for early game than Ninja is. So you would definitely be able to get a huge lead in farms early on, which is why early game towers, or towers that are very good on early game, is like so vital for this game. Obviously, like mid game and late game towers are awesome too, but I would say for Bloons City battles, early game towers are definitely the most powerful, I would say, because they get you in such a huge lead that I don't think you'd, even if like the opponent had better late game towers, the best thing you would probably do, or best thing you'd want to do probably is just rush them like early on, if they have late game towers, because usually late game towers aren't good for early game. But that's not in all cases though. Like for one example, Heli Pallet is really good for. I wouldn't say. I would say it's really good for mid and late game. I wouldn't say it's really good for early game, but it's not bad for early game. But it does cost. The upgrades for it are like quite a bit, and it's just not the best for early game. But it's not bad either. There are definitely towers that are worse. But yeah, I don't think it's completely my opinion that early game towers are the most vital for Bloons TD battles. That's not from what I know, it's not in like statistics or anything like that. It's just completely my opinion. So yeah. That's why I like using Wizard Buccaneer Farm so much. I do go ahead and get up a BIN round 15 though. I actually didn't expect to be able to do that, but I was able to get up BIN round 15, which is huge. Because round 16 is I would say like the best, or not I would say, but I've heard that round 16 is the best time to get a BIA. So getting on round 15, I thought that was pretty cool. But so that allows it to build up like a good amount of money. Like I'd say like 8. Or not, I'd say. From what I experienced when I was playing this, I got about 8K in the BIA before we got to later rounds, so the rounds were longer and stuff like that, so I got money a lot slower. But I was able to get 8K before then, which is pretty good. So I wasn't really. What I usually do when I get BIAs, the only reason I don't necessarily like getting them is because when I get them up, I have no bank to sell, or I have no farm to sell. So like if I get rushed immediately after I get the BIA, then I'll have to sell the BIA. But what sometimes the mistake I actually make is I sell the BIA without collecting from it, so it's like a complete waste. Because I only get like 5 or 6K from it, when I could be getting like 15 to 20K from it, if not more than that. So then I end up selling the BIA, so I have no source of money, and I like lose the majority of the money that I put into it, and then I get rushed. And then when I sell it and lose all the money, I don't have enough money to like build up a very good defense very quickly, and I lose to the rush. So that's kind of the only downside I experience with using BIA. But luckily in this case, we didn't get like a huge rush after we got it up. Arctic did go for some regen Zebra, bit of a beefy rush, but we were able to take it out because we got up the destroyer. He does go ahead and send us a Moab as well. I think those balloons are naturally, but I do go ahead and get up a Tornado Wizard, and I am able to fend off those last balloons. He did still take a few lives from us, but we were able to defend it for the most part. But we did use a boost though, so in this case, and it is around 21, so we are getting pretty late into it. But he goes ahead and all outs us with Moabs, fast Moabs too, and I just didn't react quick enough to defend these, and I knew I was dead right off the start because I just didn't react fast enough at all. But that's going to go ahead and do it for the second game, and I'll see you guys right back for the third game. Welcome back to the third game of the episode, and something I was also thinking about was actually something I wanted to say in this episode. So I've been thinking about. I got my new PC, or I didn't get it. It finally got completed. But the only issue was that it wasn't as good as I thought it would be, because I don't have like a graphics card for it yet. Which a graphics card greatly improves the power to run FPS games. So like Fortnite or Ring of Elysium. Something I did figure out though is I actually could run. So I went back to my laptop because my laptop was quicker in FPS games. So I got the right settings for Fortnite and Ring of Elysium, and I'm able to run them really well. But when I start recording, they just do not run well at all. They run like below 50 FPS, and I want to make sure I am able to upload high quality content to you guys. So that's the reason I haven't been able to upgrade or upload those sort of games yet. I'm hoping to in the future, or not, yeah, in the future, but I'm hoping to soon. Something I did figure out in Ring of Elysium as I was playing it today is that there's an option to auto record highlight, or is it like, I think it's like auto record highlights. So if you go to GeForce Experience, like because you can open it with Alt Z like as an overlay when you're playing Ring of Elysium, or when you're playing any FPS game, I'm pretty sure, or I don't know if it's just FPS. I think it's like any game. If you have GeForce Experience, you can just Alt Z and open it and then record. So I haven't actually tried recording with GeForce Experience yet, so that it might actually work. Because I think it's better than using OBS in the sense that it doesn't make the game lag as much. So I think I might be able to record Fortnite with that, because Fortnite's a lot easier to run on my computer than Ring of Elysium is. I can still run them both decently well, but I do have I sometimes when playing Ring of Elysium, I do drop under like 50 frames or so, and I don't want to like drop under 50 frames. I want to stick at 60, just so, because I want to make the best quality content that I can. So I want to make sure it's a firm 60. And the reason I have it set at 60 is because like if you have it above 60, from I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure like if it's above 60, being at 60 and being above 60, I don't think you can see. I mean, I think there is a difference, but I don't think you can see it, if that makes sense. So I don't want to say like it's invisible to the human eye, because I don't know if it is, but that's what I've heard anyway. So that's kind of what I just stuck with. And my brother's pretty big on like electronics and stuff, and like he knows a lot about electronics and stuff, which he's the one that also built the desktop for me and pretty much does. He's helped me out a lot with YouTube as well, like getting the right recording software, the right editing software, just like the best of everything that I could possibly get, so I can make the best possible content. So I usually go to him when I have any questions about like electronics or something like that. But I'm going to return to the gameplay for the last minute. I do go ahead and get up a sniper there just to defend that regen 0 rush. And this was the problem I said, or before I was talking about that I had with tack shooter, spike factory, and sniper. Like I would get up, I'd have to sell the tack shooter because he would rush me like regen zeros. So I wanted to get that sniper just to be able to defend that rush. But then I have no camo, but I don't really have any good camo detection. I mean, the 2-3 sniper is good for camo detection. He goes ahead and rushes me again, and I think if I just boost this, I don't think I got semi-automatic. Yeah, I definitely did not get. I don't think I got semi-automatic for my sniper, and I just didn't think this. That amount of balloons looked a lot smaller than I thought it was, but they do manage to sneak through, and Arctic YT does in fact take me out, and he does win the second best of 3. So thank you, Arctic YT, for playing me in both of these best of 3s. If you guys would like to play me, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get to each and every comment as soon as I possibly can. But I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see all you beautiful people in the next episode.